Some of you may remember the term chatty rat. Indeed, we have a regular in our on our live streams of someone who has even uses that moniker as their name. This, of course, refers to if you remember, prior to the second lockdown, we all learned of the lockdown because there was a leak, and this was leaked. This came from Number 10. We still, to this day, do not know who the chatty rat was who leaked that there was going to be a second lockdown. Now, I would like to present to you today, ladies and gentlemen, that we know who, or at least have a generally good idea of who that chatty rat may be. Now, I might not be 100% right and accurate on this. In fact, I've even sent a tweet to Dominic Cummings asking him, does he think that Liz Truss was indeed the chatty rat? And why do I think this? Well, ever since her leadership campaign has come out, even before that, we knew when Dominic Cummings got the sack, he came out and said, look, I've had to admonish Liz Truss several times for being in cabinet meetings and then leaving the cabinet meeting and then going directly on the phone to people in the press, informing them of what had just gone on in the cabinet office. And we know she did other things as well via text message, by all kinds of stuff. And as we've been moving on in this leadership campaign, other things have come to light as well. People who worked with her have said she will leak anything and everything. She doesn't really care for information about privacy. So what is this going to mean for someone who is such a prolific leaker when she is in the top job? I'll tell you now, it could have a lot of implications. But before we go diving into that, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all the people who do help and support the channel that way. So, more evidence I want to present to you today of why I think Liz Truss is the chatty rat. And not only that, but the consequences of what this could mean. Because at the moment, she is, I've always said this, she is 90% certain she is going to be the next prime minister. That 10% is only there because something might happen. I don't think you can be 100% ever certain she's going to sort of cakewalk it. But to be honest, it certainly looks like she is at the moment. So this piece of info that I'm going to present to you today comes from the New European. And this is the leaking that has gone on at the Foreign Office and some of the reasons as to why some of these leaks happened. And these should be very concerning for someone who is about to potentially take the top office in the UK. So this comes from the New European with the title of Truss's Foreign Office Ahead in Data Breach Stakes. He may be 30 points down in the polls of the Tory leadership selectorate, but at least Rishi Sunak is ahead of his Tory leadership rival Truss in one regard. While the Treasury's new annual report contains no mention of data breaches, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, currently run by Truss, seems to have suffered an avalanche of them. In its latest annual report, it reveals that there are over 117 incidents were reported and investigated, of at least which 96 were considered to be personal data breaches. That's a lot of breaches, The vast majority of those look to have been data protection issues. That's to say, personal information going out accidentally. But even that should be an issue for Truss as she tries to shed the image of herself as a chaotic eccentric on par with her predecessor. The more serious are the 8 deliberate contraventions reported, which suggest that these leaks are designed to embarrass the government or to enhance the Foreign Office's own standing. So that is incredibly worrying, that you have had deliberate breaches that were designed to embarrass the government or to enhance the Foreign Office's own standing. Liz Truss, as Prime Minister, will have access to a whole heap of information. So not only could she, say, release information on any of her potential rivals, people who are getting uppity, but also releasing information deliberately to enhance her own office's standing. That should be incredibly concerning, to be honest. The fact that she is so close to this leadership position, and this is something that she does on a regular basis. Leadership hopeful Truss was appointed Foreign Secretary in September, and the accounts ran from April of 21 to March of 2022, meaning she was not in charge for the whole of the reporting period, though her departments have often garnered a reputation for leaking stories and reporting names no names. So the report names no names. So yeah, we should be incredibly careful that we are about to see this. And I wouldn't be surprised if very, very quickly this starts to happen during Truss's term as Prime Minister. I would not be surprised at all if this comes to be the case. Leaking documents, stories to sort of embarrass other sort of potential rivals, or maybe other departments into action, or maybe even leaking stories on purpose to enhance sort of her own reputation. This should be incredibly worrying, and I'm surprised it's not a bigger story. But to be honest, given the fact that she's got this reputation, I do not see why she should not be the prime suspect of who the chatty rat is. And I think it is Liz Truss. I think she has motive. I think she has past history. Everything you need in a criminal investigation to at least identify a prime suspect is right there before us. And yet she's probably about to be prime minister. With this reputation and this type of activity, it should be very, very worrying. Probably the amount of information that is probably going to get leaked from Number 10, and probably, as we saw in Boris Johnson's case, probably in an even more prolific way than when Johnson was PM. I think this is going to be used absolutely as a weapon, both to sort of embarrass political opponents, but also, again, to try and enhance our own reputation as PM. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and our donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. And of course, there is the YouTube thank you button. And of course, there is the Pony Club's YouTube subscription down below as well. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I will see you all next time.